She goes on to say part of the problem was that I indeed did not fit into cliche box as a feminist or a woman. In fact, I was constantly criticized by other women in the comic book industry for not being feminine enough, for not being a quote unquote real woman. And so many of the same feminists in the comic book world who got their website clicks by initially lauding my bravery as an outspoken industry female later turned vicious towards me. I was continually very publicly accused of being not a real feminist, and that all eventually rolled into the accusation that I was not a real woman, and that I was to find out at the start of my lunch with Elaine eventually rolled into the claim that I was now a man. I'm telling you, they will turn on you. It's amazing to me that how many people don't realize that if you are black and you are on the left, you must be a certain kind of black person. If you are gay and on the left, you must be a certain. It's not that you're gay. It's that you follow every rule that they have for you. Look at what's his name, ran for governor of California. Ended up being the black face of white supremacy.
Larry Elder.
Is that? Yeah. How racist is that freaking phrase? You have one thing. If you are black, you can only be one way, not just to white people on the left, but to black people as well, because they will call you out for it.
Yep.
It's amazing to me that not enough people call that shit out. Anyway, I'm sure somebody else wants to speak. Or not.
Well, we were speaking when you weren't speaking. Well, you technically were. Just nobody else could hear you.
Yeah. Apparently, Ahsoka clicks a lot of hatred boxes. Bisexual, 25% black, 50% Asian, and more conservative leading. Yeah.
Ahsoka's quarter. Are you related to Quarter Black Garrett? You're both quarter black.
Oh, jeez.
All right. That's it. I'm going to go back to packing boxes now. I'm sorry.
Don't shame her.
Look, we joke around that Zach is racist, but right there he said all black people know each other. So we're going to drop
quarter black. Come on, there's like one guy who calls himself quarter black, and it's like, okay, whatever. Go ahead, as you were, people.
Dig that hole, brother. Just dig that hole.
Nice.
All righty. I knew some Jewish people who were told they weren't Jewish enough, and black friends who would say that about others with lighter skin. Red bones. I found out that was what they were called in the South in the late 1980s, early 90s. I found that out because I had a black girlfriend who was light skinned. She wasn't like whitish or anything like that. She was just a darker shade of brown, or a lighter shade of brown. And that was one thing I kept hearing. Oh, you like them red bones? I just like pretty women. That's it. I don't particularly care.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, I mean, I will say it's funny. You know, she mentioned that some people that publicly support gay creators and others that are publicly do it and then behind the scenes do the complete opposite. I mean, I always laugh when I'm watching one of your boy Zach's videos and it comes up with something about Stephanie Williams, because she's one of these, creators that, oh yeah, holds herself out to be on the LGBTQ spectrum. Oh yeah, except she's married with a husband.
Yeah,
right.
It's so in style and fashion.
Denny Howard.
Yeah. All right, let's see. It's at this point in the narrative that I need to say for the record that while I've spoken on the blog about being sort of gender fluid, I'd never transitioned into a guy. Gender fluid's a bullshit. I want to be part of the club saying anyway.
It's all a fad now.
I'm gender fluid. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, it's the Nobody's whole pansexual, fluid. Like, it's all a fad.
Well, they are every 3,000 miles. Leave them alone.
When you hear these crackpots spout off their gender, that's not a gender. It's a kink. That's what they're telling you. Oh, I can only love people who have one foot. Yeah, it's just freaking
pirate sexual. Is that what they call it?
There
pirate
you go.
The reason I like it because they're always
if they have a peg leg, that's the only way I can get excited. So I'm pegasexual. Which,
You're
by the
always
way, is the
guaranteed to
same
have
thing
Woody.
that Pegasus lovers call themselves. All right, and I never did anything even close to. Oh, sorry.
Angleton, you've never dated a girl with 1 foot. You're always 1 foot ahead of her.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I'm way too small to date while having 1 foot. All right, so in fact, due to inherited blood disorder, I cannot take any male hormones. Quite the opposite. As I'm aging, doctors are now trying to convince me to take estrogen to protect my heart. And yet this was a rumor presented as fact in my industry for years, with nobody effing contacting me to see if it was true.
Dang, that's just terrible. Can you imagine like people going around behind your back? Oh yeah, she's a dude, or she's turned into it, and like nobody has the balls to even confront you, like not confront, but like even ask you about it. Like, dang,
most people are cowards.
Yeah.
So MK is saying he was mistaken for an alien and having 3 balls because his voice is too deep. You know what? That may actually be true. I don't know. I think he doth protest too much.
Yeah. Well, MK, I hope you never have to get patted down by TSA.
There you go. That will be a freak out. I think they'll go, Pat, what? Pat, hey, Jim, come over here. Joe, Joe, you got to feel this. Hey, Kim, no, that's sexual harassment.
Well,
Kim, come on over. You got to, and then then they have to take you in the back room just to see it.
Well, no, they're going to tell him to walk. He's got 3 balls.
Well, I'm referring to, you saw the story about the poor trans woman at JFK, right?
Yeah. I heard about that.
I'll tell you what, if I ever saw somebody with 3 balls, I would want to slap one side just to see if I could create one of those infinite motion machines.
Just tell them they get the no, they
you
get
just
walked.
Stepped right on my joke, dude.
If someone has 3 balls, they're walked.
Trust me. It was funnier. Okay, so anyway, it goes over to say, but honestly, around the same time, I was writing about gender fluidity using the New Defenders character Cloud as a metaphor. I experienced a great deal of rejection by my peers, and I didn't understand fully why, because I didn't expect it. That's how far back she goes. The New Defenders, kids.
That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
That was 80s.
Or 80s?
Okay. Because, of course, they were all progressive and pro-gay. Wouldn't have minded my words about my own gender identification, but clearly some did mind. Moreover, the rumor, many of them apparently prompted in my peer circles and industry and community, was not one done out of any love or understanding of me. It was rather the natural extension of the accusations of me not being a real woman or a real feminist that I already received in droves. It was a joke. It was a joke. It was the final joke. Already. So when I began receiving criticism over the last year or so by some of the same crowd for not being trans positive enough, I lost my shit. These peeps claim to care so much about the things like misgendering, except when it came to me. Then the misgendering was fine. Now, I do wish this post was structured more as a dramatic narrative that I could have better and more artfully expressed what happened. But the truth is, I'm still very, very angry and raw over this. The truth is, I still feel extremely embarrassed, like I was the butt of a prank that nobody had the heart to tell me about. The truth is, this whole sequence of events threw a monkey wrench in whatever delicate handling of the intricacies of my own gender identification I was trying to do. And the truth is, this whole created far more personal carnage in my life than I'm willing to write about. Several days ago, I had an old contact in comics confirm to me about that rumor, and he is a person who certainly would have known about it. I know he sort of has looked on at this emotional carnage for years, for decades, but that's another story, and feels crappy about it. I sent him a list of people going around who are said to spread vicious rumors about others in the comic book industry. I told him about half the names on there have spread rumors about me. What comics media will cover that? What comics media even exists? By the way, have you checked out the comics media? That is freaking gone.
Yeah,
even Bleeding Cool is now like mostly movies and TV and shit.
Like I said, check the YouTube channels. They're more efficient than they are going to with the blogs.
Yeah, well, Newsarama got bought up, basically folded into IGN. I think it is. CBR is, they're still around because they're partially owned by, or it's owned by CBS.
They're all sister sites.
Yeah, right. They're sister sites.
it's not enough to give this or that gay character their own comic. It's not enough to make this or that special anthology. It's the way you treat others at the ground level in your daily life and industry. And when you're not being genuine, the public can pick up on that, I think. But what do I know? I'm just a gross female-male mashup that's unremarkable or unmarketable, excuse me. I have no ready-made, clear-cut selling points. I don't fit into one of those boxes nearly neatly enough. And that's the end of her blog. She does include this page from the New Defenders, and it's got Iceman and Cloud talking. Now, if you don't know the character, Cloud is one person, one superhero shared by, I think it's a brother and sister. It's a man and female in one body. So she really was, and this is how in good comic books were versus today. Yeah. This was a character. Now listen to the writing here. Listen to the freaking writing on this. And this is how you do it, because this is a freaking emotional story. And it was told not by slamming it through our throats, not by 52 announcements. It was just a character who was introduced. All right. You have Bobby say, Cloud, let's talk. I mean, talk. And Cloud says, I guess we have to. It isn't easy, is it? You go first. And Iceman says, you should know I like you a lot. And she says, I like you too, Bobby. It's no crush, but I like you a lot. But it's driving me crazy, he says. There's no way I can let myself fall hard for you when I know that somewhere inside of you is a guy. Holy shit. The guy they made gay for no fucking reason couldn't love a girl because she knew the part of its personality was a dude. They're trying to say to us that Bobby had always been gay. Holy effing Lord, right there. Okay, I digress. I digress.
This character reminds me of Starhawk.
Oh yeah, Starhawk. I remember Starhawk. Yeah,
that's right. Starhawk,
man. Or if you go to the J.M. DeMatteis run on Dr. Fate.
That's true.
For a while, there was the whole storyline with Kent and Enza.
She goes on to say, Bobby, first, I love Moondragon. It's why I turned into a guy in the first place. Though she's tried to squelch the whole thing, no big surprise there. But I want us to be real close friends, Bobby, and that's why I stay female when you're around, because I know you're uncomfortable the other way. But you've got to understand, Bobby, it's not as though someone else is hiding within me. It is me. It's sort of like wearing two different kinds of sunglasses, Bobby, but it's still me looking out of both of them. And he's saying, and who are you, Cloud? Who are you? And that's something else. Look, I get this. And by the way, reading this, I kind of want to go back over it and say, oh, okay, wow. Because nowadays, like Umbrella Academy, did you see the third season? Where Ellen Page has become Elliot Page, and everybody is just like, hey, awesome. Nobody has a like the older brother, the ape guy, has a little trouble, but most of them fall in line right away. Nobody's questioning. Nobody's going, really? Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's having a hard time with it.
Yeah, no one gave a shit.
This, back in the day, now he wasn't mean to her. He flat out says, I like you. I really like you. He wasn't being mean to her, but there was different feelings. Now it's all, oh, we accept you, we love you. Oh, Tim Drake, who has never been gay since he was turns gay, and nobody says, wait, what? No, something's going on here. This is wrong.
I mean, we flipped to unrealistic levels of acceptance the other way. I mean, it would be natural for somebody to question or initially have a problem, but then you work it out, and if you are friends with that person or you love that person, then at some point you either have to accept that person or you move on. So yeah, it gets crazy. I mean, one other great example I was thinking of, you remember the Peter David Supergirl run? Yeah. If you remember Comet.
Oh yes, yeah, Comet. Comet actually had it was a dude turned into the horse, and he had a crush on Supergirl.
Well, but the crush was Linda's best friend, who was a girl. So she was a girl who then turned into a guy who was horse-like.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Comics, kids.
Yeah, it's something. Tehillium, I do want to find this issue of New Defenders, and I want to go over it. I want to do a reading here.
There was a Skrull character, you remember, on was it Runaways? I think it was the one that basically it was a male Skrull that became a female, shaped the female girl because he liked one of the girls that was on the team.
There was a
but no one completely.
No. The idea was to make Hulkling, I think, a girl that turns into a guy or something like that.
Well, shapeshifters always bring that up. I remember first time I thought about was a Durlin from Legion of Superheroes fell in love with goodness gracious, Colossal Boy, the guy who grows and such, and Durlin took over the identity of Shrinking Violet, and they fall in love. And now I always thought, well, wait a second, if they can change into anything, you know. I would think, of course, they could change into anything, but they would stay female, or even if there's a, you know, I don't know. Let's see what we got. If not, you have to accept. You now have to glorify and put right. I know it's ridiculous.
Well, it's what the writers want to experience themselves. Like, well, my parents didn't accept me when so I'm going to write what they should have done in this comic book.
And you should never focus. I was gonna say you should never focus on the sexuality of a character. You should focus more on what the character's powers and what they bring to the story. If you just want to write a gay soap opera, then call it. This is a General Hospital or somewhere weird, you know, soap opera thing. Don't call it X-Men. Don't call it Fantastic Four. I mean, give it
fan fiction, because that's what it is. It's fan fiction.
It is fan fiction. These are Tumblr writers coming in. Yeah, and it said it doesn't belong in a comic book. Comic books are about action adventure. They shouldn't be about parents accepting me because I'm not this person.
Right.
I mean, you could do that for a little bit in X-Men, but it got old fast.
You have to do it really well in X-Men.
That's being brought up now. Also, that'll probably be a topic for another live stream. But I noticed Screen Rant did an article where it's talking about how Stan Lee forced to change famous comic book team's name, and it was talking about how X-Men is the wrong name for the X-Men. That it's really Muties, and we should love and accept the fact that it's Muties, not the X-Men.
I want to
say wrote that, Victoria Alonso?
Well, at this point in Marvel, they are going to be all X-Men. They're going to be trans.
But the thing is, if this is a thing now, it just goes to, because you know that Marvel has been wanting to change they changed the Punisher. I have a feeling that they're going to go hard on this, that they're going to really want to, what do you guys call it? Gaslight people?
Yeah. Cover up, gaslight, say, oh, this
they want to get,
or...
like it's always been supposed to have been Muties, and X-Men have never been really loved as X-Men, but really they've been loved as the mutants themselves. They've already
all the millions upon millions of copies of X-Men that were sold, the $1 billion+ that the 3 X-Men movies made.
Flat out X-Men.
X-Men's not popular at all.
Can we just play that clip whenever Jennifer Lawrence, gets killed in the Dark Phoenix? Every time they say we're change the name.
Yeah.
And you're like, we're done.
X-Men is a catchier title than Mutants. I'm gonna flat out say that. My ear, X-Men sounds cooler than Mutants.
The new Mutants, it's kind of dumb to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Inhumans didn't sell as well as they wanted to, and I don't think it's because the characters were interested. It's just the name Inhumans. Like, it's just not a flashy title like Avengers or Fantastic. It's just not. Yeah.
I am forever a defender of the Inhumans, except for the TV show. I love the Inhumans stuff.
Yeah, they keep trying to change the name of the Astonishing X-Men. The other actors in front of it because they're trying to make it. They can't go with the name X-Men because they know people won't buy it if you don't call it the X-Men. That's what they would
go full Tropic Thunder.
Same with Avengers. They've tried a couple of different names, and it's the point where they know if they change it, no one's going to pick it up because where's the Avengers book?
Am I the only one that hates Uncanny Avengers I don't know about the book. The title.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
Uncanny X-Men. It's Mighty Avengers. Don't give me Mighty Inhumans or Mighty X-Men. It's Mighty Avengers.
Yes.
Well, so
Uncanny
the
X-Men.
big idea behind it was originally it was a combination. It was like X-Men and Avengers joining together after the Avengers versus X-Men story. It was like showing that they could work together and be cohesive. So they called it Uncanny Avengers because of that.
Yeah, well, that. Yeah, for one of the fewest times, that's right.
Yes, Cat is on my
Melania-
side.